Hey everybody, Rob John Webb here, and this is episode 2 of the VSTs that I use. As I said in the previous video, I don't particularly have a favourite VST. I just tend to go with whatever mood I'm in that day, and I'll just grab a random plugin depending on what kind of music I want to make. So today I am going to go through the FB series. There's 3 here that I'm going to play. There's loads more in the series on the website, of course, but these 3 are the ones that I'm going to go for. It's the Full Bucket website, which is a German guy who basically recreates classic Korg synths from way back in the 70s and into the 80s, and does them as VSTs, and they're absolutely brilliant, and they're all free, which is just like a labour of love to him or to the team that do it. And the link for it is in the description of this video, so just head over to their website if you've never heard of them, fullbucket.de I think, and they're absolutely spot on with the things they do. So anyway, the first one is the Full Bucket 3200, which looks like this. It's a really old synth from the 70s, I'm guessing, and I'm just going to play you a few of the sounds in here. Some really, really eerie sort of sounds. What else we got in here? Could do some really cool sort of synth wave with that. Then we've got the brass. You've got all these different sounds in here, like the arp, which is kind of you could arpeggiate this. Bass, simple bass. That's all right. You've got all these sort of sound effects and drum hits and stuff. There's tons and tons of stuff you can use. If you look at the list, in terms of sort of funky stuff, I'm going to find you some sort of funky sounds. Analog brass. That's cool. That's pretty cool. A really nice one, actually. And then you've got, obviously, pads again. You can do some really eerie ambient stuff with this. You can do that with that. So you've got a variety of different sort of... so there's plenty to choose from on that one. So yeah, I'd strongly recommend getting this one for your vintage sounds. So that's the FB 3200. Then you've got its big brother, which is the FB 3300, which looks like this. It's got loads more going on. Polyphonic again, but has all these different sort of, settings that you can change the sound, and you can spend hours doing your synthesis and your noodling. You name it, you can do it. Again, look at all of the sounds on here. Cracking old classic sound. Nice big pads. Sound effects, leads. Proper funky. You can manipulate that and obviously change the cutoff as if you wanted to get it right, and MIDI it up so you can change it on the dials. Fanfare, strings, 70s synth. Really cool that is. Leads again. More pads, loads more pads. Quite high, sort of resi sort of pads, King of Cheese, what's that? Organ. On it goes. You do a variety of stuff for that. More pads, quite a few pads on this one, and sequence ones. And what you can do with that, obviously, you can go over to here, and then you can manipulate it to 1/16. There you go, look. And do. You can just change it a million times. Do all this crazy stuff with it. You can spend hours on that synth. So that is the FB3300, and then finally for this video we've got the FB7999, which is a classic 80s synth redone. Very similar sort of way it's done, where you can change all the things, but they're all done with these pads on the screen, as you can see now, because it's emulating the original synth. So for example, your cutoff is obviously down. You just touch it, whichever one you want to change. You use the one dial on this, but you just click on there and just choose whichever perimeter you want to change. So for example, I want to change the cutoff, so I'm going to make sure I've got it selected. So I mean the cutoff's done, and then obviously you can change your res. So you go back to your cutoff, and you can spend hours messing about with those sounds. In here though, you've got less sounds, but this is the 80s, so they kind of cut out a lot of the old sounds and tried to be a little bit more modern in those days, I suppose. This chorus E-piano sound is brilliant. Imagine you're watching a TV show from the 80s and they go from one scene to the other, and it goes like this. And they used to do that, didn't they? Interludes, like... stuff like that, daft. So that's a really good one. It's got a lot of decay on it and sustain on it. So that's the chorus E-piano. That's pretty cool. You've got sounds like the strings. You know, you could do some cut off on that, obviously, and do some sort of 80s sort of build it up. You know, really filter it back up, and then sort of nostalgic sort of music that you can do. Jazz organs are good on here for deep house. So I think it's the second one. There you go. I think the third one's pretty good as well. That's cool. Go higher at the octave. And on it goes, you know, low strings again. Really nice. Violins. Things like the violins and that, obviously by the 80s when they tried to synthesize them, they just didn't hit the nail on the head, did they? That's a good one. Really cool. You've got a lot of traditional, you know, instruments like trombones, you know, vibraphones and brass and flutes and clarinets, kind of orchestra instruments. Synth basses are okay. Whatever. Long drawn out pads. That's cool. Fifths. That's cool. Let's turn on the cut off on that. That's quite nice. Nice for trance, I suppose, that one. Airplane sound effects. That's pretty cool, actually. Toms. Phil Collins a bit. Not as good. So it's a really crazy sort of synth, that one. So that's it. There's 3 synths that I use there sometimes. The full bucket series. As I say, they're just 3 of the ones that I use. They've normally got on their website probably 20 or 30, I think. But it's well worth checking them out. I'll go through a few more next time. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching that, guys. I hope you've taken some inspiration from that. And you can probably download those because they're all free. So go ahead and grab them from the link below. Cheers.